G'day folks, Jeff here with my top 10 album covers that aren't Iron Maiden. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing top 10 metal album covers that aren't Iron Maiden. This is a response video to Simon from Explosive Action, who also was doing a response video to Andy from Cloudy Milder, who must have come up with this idea in the first place, so good idea. I'm going to do this in alphabetical order instead of top 10 order because I don't know if I could really rate them quite that exactly. This really could be a very long video. If I did, I could do top 100, top 500 album covers really, because I really enjoy album cover art. This one is just what I thought of. I'm sure if I did it again tomorrow it'd be different. But yeah, as you'll see, my taste is possibly not the most mature, but we're talking about heavy metal, who cares? So, before we get to the good stuff, let's do the crap ones. Decided to do a top 5 of my least favourite metal album covers, well, that I own at any rate. I'm sure there's a hell of a lot more worse out there. So, first up, we have Addictive with their Pity of Man cover. This is an old Sydney thrash band from the late 80s. Yeah, they were pretty bloody good, actually, but I think I marginally prefer their demo to this. But it's a bloody good album, really. Just sort of pretty straightforward thrash. Sounds a bit like Testament at times, or probably Mortal Sin. Several members actually went on to be in Mortal Sin later on, so there's unsurprisingly a crossover there. But yeah, this album was reissued with a totally different, slightly stupider cover, but this one is just, I don't know, it's glorious. It's awfulness. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I will give it one thing, it has nice colours. That's alright, but the rest of it, yeah, it's, yeah. I don't know what they were thinking, really. Let's try getting glare on that one. As you can see, there's a robot putting people into an hourglass. There's a little girl playing with lighted balls or something. There's I don't even know what that's supposed to be. It's like a animal skull or something, but yeah. It took me a while to track this one down because I always wanted it, partly for the music, which is fine, but also just because the cover art was so crap. So yeah, Addictive. Thanks, folks. Plus, I always love their bullet-riddled logo. It's a bit silly, but anyway. As I said, great band live. I saw them at this gig, which was one of my very first metal gigs, so they were bloody excellent, but yeah, not on the artwork side of things. Next up in the crapness stakes is Beherit with The Oath of Black Blood. I'll probably get killed for this one. Again, great album. I got no problem with the album. I do kind of prefer the album afterwards, Drawing Down the Moon, but this one's bloody good for, well, it's actually demos and EPs bunged together. But I still remember seeing this one in Impact Records for the first time as a CD on the shelf and just pissing myself laughing. It just to me looks like kids D&D drawing, basically. That was the first thing I thought of. It looked like something I would draw in maths class. But yeah, anyway, it's Christoph Moyen, bloody good artist. He's done a ton of great stuff. I really like his work with Coffins and Funebarum and a ton of other bands, Archgoat. So yeah, he's a popular guy, but this is not one of his best pieces, I think. Yeah, so I listened to it in Impact and pissed myself laughing even more because my music taste buds weren't quite as good back then. But yeah, it's always stood out as a amusing one. This, don't get me wrong, this release is bloody bonza. This is the Nuclear War Now one. It's got all fancy photos. It's even got a massive booklet with 8 tons of bloody photos, and including the always classic. Love that shot. I even have this on alternate colour version for some stupid reason. I think I bought this first, which I don't think really helps it either particularly. So yeah, D&D drawings in your maths book. Sorry, fellas. Our next podgy one is Napalm Death with Harmony Corruption. Again, great album. It's probably my introduction, either this or Scum, to Napalm Death. Nothing wrong with the album, or maybe production-wise, but anyway, that's another video. But yeah, I just don't know what's going on in this. There's like an arm for no apparent reason, a burning cross. Like, This guy looks like straight out of a Hellraiser comic. I really don't know. Again, pretty colours. I like the flaming kind of something or other in the background, but yeah, don't know what they were thinking really. It stands out, I'll give them that, but no. Again, I really love these albums, but here we go. Obituary, Slowly We Rot. Great logo, I'll give them that, but again, looks like a kid's drawing of some dead guy in the gutter. It's just, no. Gets your attention, I'll give you that, but yeah, it's, and don't worry, one of their albums may be coming up in the top 10, believe me. They got a lot better after this. But this one, and I really don't particularly like the Slowly We Rot logo either, really, but yeah, Borgie. I often wonder with these crap covers if that band got it and just went, oh yeah, that'll do, I suppose. Oh well. So yeah, great album, shit cover. Okay, the final crap cover is Pestilence with Consuming Impulse. Again, amazing album, in my top 10 death metal albums for sure. Doesn't get much better really, but certainly gets a lot better with the cover. I believe this was a last minute change. They had a different cover, which I'll put a picture of up here because I don't actually own the other version, which is, I don't know, a bit ruder or grosser or something or other, but not very good either particularly. But this one, again, it's very striking. I like the green, but yeah, no. No, not at all. Perfect album. I would totally recommend everyone buy it, but the cover is shit. Sorry. Alright, just to tease you a little more before we get to the top 10, I'll do some runner-ups. This one, yeah, it's not the greatest album cover of all time. It's Conan and Slowmatic split, but what's not to love about a guy riding a snail with a lance, I guess. Sort of reminds me of the classic sort of, Sleep album covers, but I don't know, there's something about it always makes me smile. I've always wanted to get a t-shirt of this, I'd never have managed, but yeah, cool cover. Up next on my list of runner-ups is a brand spanking new one from Cryptworm. This is Spewing Mephitic Putridity. Yeah, unsurprisingly death metal, who would have guessed. It even folds out nicely. Ooh. Comes with a nice poster of this as well, so that may well go up on the wall just to make my study look even more immature. I don't know, I'm not sure why I like this album cover so much. It's good use of colour, it's just gory and excellent. So yeah, great band as well. Listened to it just prior to this, and yeah, excellent quality old school death metal. Alright, next up in the runner-ups is, we're going to do the artist Ed Repka. He's done a million album covers. It was very hard to choose between these two. There's Death with Scream Bloody Gore and Megadeth with Peace Sells, but who's buying? In the end, I had to go with Death. It's just an iconic cover, great use of colour, bloody good album of course, and I don't know, just it kind of always amuses me that there are these ghouls sitting around with, no skin, but they're having a drink. Plus, I always find the fact that the word Scream Bloody Gore have inverted commas, which looks a bit stupid, but anyway. But, great album cover. I proudly wore my t-shirt of this many years when I was a youth. It's probably a bit tight for me now, but anyway. So yeah, this is my Ed Repka masterpiece, I think. Next in the runner-ups is Abigail by King Diamond. I won't bother holding this crappy CD up. I'll put up a decent picture of it so you can actually see what it is. So yeah, this is definitely, I think, my favourite cover of King Diamond or Merciful Fate. I think it's the same artist who pretty much did them all, but artists, I think. But this one, I don't know, great use of colour. I love the fact that the two sort of horsemen have their heads bowed, and I'm not sure if they're supposed to be transporting the coffin of Dracula or something or other, but yeah, I probably should read the lyrics to Abigail a little more closely. I'm sure it explains it all there, but I don't know, iconic cover, bloody awesome stuff. Last on the runner-up stakes is Summoning with Dol Guldur. Again, I'll put the picture up so you can actually see it properly. I don't know, this is something I love about this. I love the framing that they used for it. It's really effective. It's got a dragon on top of it. Yeah, I always like the Summoning logo as well. It's just slowly impenetrable, but when you read it, you can see it. But yeah, great album, great cover. Alright, here we go, the proper top 10. First band up, Autopsy. My favourite death metal band of all time, bloody awesome. And actually, Purveyor's a very good very fine covers over the years. I started with Severed Survival. I prefer this album cover much more than the original version, which just looked a bit, I don't know, kind of childish to me, really. Men of Funerals, kick-ass, but yeah, it's never quite blown me away, to tell the truth. I mean, the album does. Cover sort of suits it, but could be better. After this one had Accident Unspeakable would probably nearly win for if I was including the whole gatefold cover, which I probably shouldn't hold up too closely because it's a bit rude. But the actual album cover is just a detail of that, so it doesn't quite win from that stakes. It's still bloody good, but yeah, if the whole album cover was the cover, it probably would have won. Yeah, won't say too much about that one. Great album, but that was all their before they split sort of stuff. Since they've come back, I've really enjoyed this cover art. Wes Benscotter is a great artist. I think this is probably my favourite of their more recent covers. Carve Eternal, again, Mr. Benscotter, I think. They had some dud ones over the years, I reckon. I never cared for this one. Again, great EP. Killer stuff, Steve Giorgio, kicking ass, but I don't know, what the hell are they doing with that cover? I thought it was supposed to have like wacky faces and all this stuff, but yeah. And only other one, which was kind of weird, it's Puncturing the Grotesque. I don't know, it just didn't work for me. It's Dennis Dredd, who's a great artist. I think I prefer his black and white stuff than the colour. Just, I don't know, messy. But down to the brass tacks. The winner for me, probably unsurprisingly, is Retribution for the Dead. This is an EP they put out in between Severed Survival and Mental Funeral. Oh, should hold up. This is actually drawn by one of the guitarists from Satis. Apparently didn't do too much else, but I love this work. It's just something about it. Really fits with song In the Grip of Winter, which is about sort of freezing to death. But yeah, I love how the logo is part of the artwork. Just really works. This one's on my wall. That's why it's all floppy, because the insides are stashed in my record somewhere. This one's framed usually, so yeah, killer cover. Alright, for the next band, it really was only a choice between these three album covers. I love the first album, but we got Blaze in the Northern Sky, Transylvanian Hunger, the classic Candelabra. But the winner for me is always Under a Funeral Moon. Alright, this is quite different than all the other album covers. There's no painting here or anything. There's a nice logo, but other than that, it's just black and white photography, classic black metal style. But to me, this one just totally wins. I love the staff, the use of the tree and the logo going into the tree is just perfect. Even though there's heaps of black in there, but it just works really well. That's Nocturno Culto, I believe, in this picture. But yeah, awesome album cover. And yeah, super iconic, really. I don't know if many bands did these crappy black and white ones before Dark Throne really kicked it off, so yeah, a winner all around. Alright, you can't do a classic album covers without doing a Dan Seagrave cover of some variety. I could probably put several of his in here, really, but I decided to only choose one per artist. He did a ton of work for Earache and Roadrunner. I don't know if he did any Relapse covers, maybe. But mostly death metal in the early 90s. He's still going, still kicking out great ones. Some really good Memoriam covers that he's done recently, as well as a ton of bands. But to me, there's a certain batch that really win. I mean, Altars of Madness kicks ass. It's a great album cover, and I love all the blue and the circular side of things, but yeah, it doesn't quite win it for me. Originally, it was going to be a choice between these two, Left Hand Path and Clandestine, but yeah, in the end, the winner was Like an Ever-Flowing Stream by Dismember. Same as Simon, really. And his version looks a lot better than my crappy black on black reissue, but oh well. I don't know, yeah, like him, I really love the symmetry of this one. Great use of colour. I love the sort of circular kind of bit over the river. Although now that I look at it a little carefully, I'm not sure about the perspective in it. That river looks a little further back than those gargoyles, but they all seem to be spitting water or whatever the hell that is into the same spot. Oh well. Sorry, Dad. But yeah, this just awesome cover. Again, I could have picked a ton of other ones of his. There's a great Malevolent Creation one of his. Again, there's a squillion of them. There's even Nocturnus. About the only reason I like the Nocturnus album is the first one that is for the album artwork. So yeah. But Dismember, kicking ass. Always a winner. Plus, I mean, I have several framed Seagrave ones on my wall, which I'll post a picture of, which, yeah, don't include this one. It must not have been for sale when I bought them, I think. But, yeah, very happy to get those framed because they look killer. Alright, up next is artist Phil Levere. He did a ton of old thrash albums. Did like Rage and Warrant and Death Row. And did Celtic Frost, which very nearly won for this. Just want to show off my pretty picture disc. But in the long run, he also did and created all the stuff for Creator. And this one's the winner by a mile. He did most of their early albums, probably up until, like, I don't know, Renewal sort of era. So I think he created that monster. I have a feeling he's had some legal issues with Creator over the rights to all this, or maybe issues with Noise Records. But for me, this is easily the winner. I mean, it doesn't hurt that this is pretty much my, like second or third favourite thrash album of all time, and a complete, absolute masterpiece. I just love the cover. It's just the colour all through it. Looks awesome. Great sort of banding on the side of the black, but really, I mean, look at that monster crushing those skeletons. You can't go wrong, really. It's as feral as the music is, really. I think it perfectly suits their stuff. And yeah, awesome stuff. Really, really great artist. Next up is the artist Michael Whelan. He did some old Sirith Ungol albums, which I think were actually just covers from several sci-fi books that he wrote, which also ultimately got pinched by Catharsis for this album cover. They managed to steal two different elements of it, which is quite clever of theirs. Obviously big fans. Two of the main ones that he did were Beneath the Remains and Arise. Let's maybe get that a bit more visible. Which, yeah, kick ass, believe me, but the real winner in my book, and the reason why I've got it framed on the wall, is Obituary, Cause of Death. I mean, just look at this album cover. It's bloody awesome. Great use of colour. I love the red on the eye, red on the spider thing on the, I don't know, cocooned person. It really is a bit of an overload of heavy metal action. It's got a pile of skulls. You got a box full of people's arms sticking out, obviously being tortured or something. You got some nasty looking teeth, wacky looking eye. Again, strange person that's been cocooned by the nice red spider. Scary looking tree with wailing faces in it. What more can you need, really? But again, beautiful composition. The colour is just killer. As I think Simon pointed out in his video, this was, I think originally supposed to be the Beneath the Remains cover, but I'm kind of glad it went with Obituary because it's slightly more fitting for them, I think. Death metal overload. So, and yeah, the Beneath the Remains cover's iconic in its own, and probably did not hurt their sales either. So, but yeah, great artist. I occasionally see his work on like book covers or just, random non-metal spots and go, hey, that artwork looks familiar. So yeah, killer stuff. The next one's by an artist called Michael Kaskowski, who did some Impiety work and several other sort of nasty bands, but main one for him that he did that I love is Portal with their outro album. This is their second album, I think, and as you would have noticed on my top 20 Aussie metal albums, this one made it on there, partly for its cover, but more for its music. So, but yeah, just, I don't know, the cover is just, yeah, scary. Not many things are kind of scary or ominous, but that one really is. You got like a scary looking grandfather clock with Nosferatu. You count Orlok fingers and walking past some corpses lying around, and yeah, it's just eerie. Very, very effectively done. Don't think it does follows onto the back, but yeah, bloody awesome. And just super fitting. This is my favourite of the Portal album covers. Some of their other ones are pretty good as well, but yeah, this one just took it to another level of eeriness. Very, very fitting with the band. Next up, there's no way I could not put this album in there. This is by Larry Carroll, who also did South of Heaven, Seasons in the Abyss, and Christ Illusion. I think unfortunately he died a couple of years ago, so oh well. But yeah, this I think, I don't know if this sold me on the album at the time. I'd only heard a bit of Slayer. I remember going in as a very young lad, probably, I don't know, 16 or 17 or something, going to old Utopia Records when it was in the downstairs basement area of Martin Plaza in Sydney, and came away with this one. I think I'd heard a recording of Hell Awaits, I think, that my mate Phil had played me, but yeah, I went in there. I think this album cover probably sold me. You know, I mean, look at it, for God's sake. It's got an evil goat on a throne. It's obviously in hell. There's, you know, bodies and heads and shit everywhere. Yeah, upside down decapitated corpses. So, yeah. It's just, oh, yeah, awesome. Especially after Hell Awaits is a cool album cover, but nowhere near as effective as this one. It's just a perfect marriage, especially for such a brutal album as well. So, yeah, no way this one wasn't getting on the list. Next up is The Lord Weird Slough-Feg with Traveller. This is by Martin Banford, that also did other Slough-Feg covers, as well as Balsagoth and Twisted Tower Dire and a number of others. This is just a stunning cover to me, really. It's all black, white and red. It's really dramatic colours that work really effectively. It's got a Varga, which is, you know, part of the storyline of the whole thing. This is all from the role-playing game Traveller. They sort of developed the lyrics based off that, and so it's a half-man, half-human hybrid. I don't know, there's just something about it. It's tough artwork. I really like the logos and the colour. On the back it's got, you know, wacky-do spaceship, which really reminded me of my teen years when I remember in libraries finding these really big sort of heavy coffee table books that were just full of old, or just science fiction pictures. They didn't even, I don't think they even had any words in them other than the artist's name. It was just, you know, wacky spaceship artwork. And I don't know, I just really loved it, and it works really well in this one. But yeah, just look at that. I was so pleased to finally get this on record as well, because it's a killer bloody album, one of my favourites. So yeah, Slough-Feg. Next up is Ulva with Nathan's Madrigal. Don't worry, that's not the real cover. This is unfortunately the crappy version that I received. This is the real cover. If you'll have a look, it's, I don't know, just perfect picture of a wolf. Really adds to the sort of misanthropy of the album. It's, yeah, it's one of the harshest black metal albums. I mean, I'm sure there's worse, but I still remember first hearing these guys on, I think it was like a Century Media compilation called Firestarter. I think it was maybe the first time I heard them, but yeah, this was one of the songs off this album, and it was just, compared to the rest of the black metal on there, it was just super duper harsh. But it's a great bloody album. And yeah, just, I don't know, I love the use of the moon, the spooky looking trees, and the howling wolf. Killer stuff. This is by Tanya Steen, apparently, who, just in relation to one of the other album covers, did that Tarkford artwork that was in Under the Funeral Moon by Darkthrone, which, I don't know, they used to actually sell t-shirts of this back in the day. I always wanted one because it's an ominous sort of look. So, and finally we come to the last one, which is the very iconic band Voivod. All their artwork's been done by their drummer Away, who's just epic artist. I'll put up some pictures of some of his more recent work. I'm a big fan of all of his eras, mostly, except maybe the Negaton era. I think I'll put that up. It's the Ant one that, yeah, didn't really work, I don't think. But I really like his the most recent album, which I don't actually have yet, but very stylish, sort of black and white style. He's done a lot of EPs around the same time that just look killer, so I'll put some of them up. But going back to his earlier work, I don't actually have, going through them all, I don't actually have War and Pain on anything, I don't think. It's a bit tragic. I kind of thought I had a CD of it somewhere, but anyway. So yeah, that cover's pretty good. Certainly sets the scene. It was a lot more stylish and most of the other stuff around then. After that, they did Raw, which hasn't quite won the competition for me, really. It's a little, maths textbook drawing while dicking around at school kind of thing. But again, killer stuff. First use of my favourite version of their logo. Album after that, I think this is really the winner for me, Killing Technology. It's a little kind of silly, but all their stuff's a little silly, really. But again, perfect use of the full-size logo. And just beautifully, don't really know what's going on in it. It's got like this weird guy, or maybe a person, don't know. There's like a huge hand here for some reason. He's got like a human hand and then a robotic hand as well. Obviously in a spaceship looking at 3 different moons or planets. Alright, look, it's just awesome work. I was thinking of going with Dimension Hatris, because it's very stylish use of colour around it, but when you look a bit more closely, it's just sort of not enough to it, really, for my liking. I mean, my favourite album of Voivod's is definitely Nothing Face, but that artwork, it's his computery sort of artwork. I really like all the different songs. Each song gets their own artwork on this album. There's some really stylish ones. I especially like that one. I used to have a colour photocopy version that I printed off and bunged on my wall. So, yeah, very good stuff. But again, Killing Technology all the way. After Nothing Face, they had Angel Rat, which is just dreadful album cover. I don't mind the album, but the cover's just shocking. What's its name? The Outer Limits has got very stylish, 50s sci-fi look to it. Then after that, they all got a bit computer generated for a bit too long. It didn't really do it. But for me, Killing Technology all the way. Great album and great band. So yeah, that's it. That's my top 10 heavy metal album covers that aren't Iron Maiden. If I had to pick an Iron Maiden cover, which is probably going against the spirit of this, it's kind of a hard choice between Live After Death and Summer in Time, but I'd probably go with Summer in Time, the full gatefold version, because it's heaps of cool detail and it's just, stylish. As you would see, there was a ton of stuff that wasn't included in there. I could easily do a top 20, top 50. There was no Bathory in there. There's squillion other bands that weren't featured, so no Candlemass. Iconic covers like Sodom ones, and a ton of other covers. It was interesting going through my list. There was some bands that just didn't even really get a look in, like Metallica. Great albums, well, some of them, but just none of those covers came close to any of these, I don't think. At most, maybe the Creeping Death kind of one, the 12-inch. But yeah, there's a lot of choices out there, really, when it comes down to it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to make your own one or bag out my choices below in the comments. Thanks for watching. See yous.